Well, the only thing I'm gonna say that is you're from Germany. Come on! Oh my god. It's one. Oh. Okay. What, did that count? Yep, it did.
It is accomplished. The Forge summons the spirit of every Balance Guardian to itself for this final purpose.
Ariel? You?
Yes, Raziel. Yet I am much more than I was. The veil is lifted from my sight. My spirit, united with the souls of my predecessors, is drawn here now for the final baptism of the blade. To restore balance, the sword must be rendered pure by spirit. Release me, Raziel. The Soul Reaver has the power. Release us all. For this we were called. You have done well, Raziel. But there is one more trial for you to bear. You must unite what has been set asunder. Only then will the Scion of Balance be armed for his true endeavor. Only then.
The Reaver now blazed with purifying flame. But far from being enlightened, I found myself entangled in an even greater web of mysteries. What had Janos expected me to learn? And what of Ariel's cryptic message? If the sword was endowed for the Scion of Balance, for Kane, and he was now dead, what hope remained? I needed to find Janos, and soon. I dreaded to think what these ominous rumblings might portend.
And that's the final power. And that was, if you remember, the scene from Soul Reaver 1, one of the echoes of the future, where Raziel struck Ariel with the Reaver. So that's what it was. He received the power of purification from her. That power is mostly for story purposes. Doesn't do much in combat. I'm gonna check this place to see if there's any collectibles, but I don't think there are. Yeah, I think we just need to go back. Yeah, nothing here. Yeah, I think I will be able to finish this today. Well, definitely, actually. There is just a little bit left. If need be, I'll play a bit longer. But we are finishing this today. Demons and more demons. Please don't tell me that the door is blocked. It isn't. More demons. Oh, come on, don't... Ah, excellent.
Janos, what is this?
The binding is failing. All is lost.
We had arrived at that cataclysmic moment when a younger Kane faced his fateful dilemma as Balance Guardian. Choosing self-preservation over sacrifice, he doomed the Pillars to eternal ruin.
Raziel, there may yet be hope. There is one who will be called. You must seek the Scion of Balance. Dear God! Raziel, we meet again. You have played your part flawlessly. It is gratifying to attain both freedom and vengeance in a single stroke. No! You cannot! This one is strong. Good. My next move requires a more durable host. Mortals are such fragile vessels. Willing or not, you have provided the instrument of our victory.
I wouldn't celebrate just yet.
You pathetic creature. You haven't got a clue. The seduction of the Circle and possession of Mortanius, Ariel's murder, the corruption and collapse of the Pillars, all orchestrated as a prelude to this moment. We sought an incorruptible vessel, and you provided one. We required the blood of our ancient enemy, and you delivered Janos Audron. Having first been lured to the heart of darkness. Best of all, you murdered the Scion of Balance to get it. We've already won. Raziel, you must not allow them to carry out their plan. Kill me, and you end it now. Suicidal like the rest of them. Know your place, Raziel. The true hero plays his role and then steps aside. You deluded ghoul. Do you so wish to die a martyr for the vampire's lost cause?
You're not leaving this chamber. I will destroy Janos if I have to.
Very well, then. I'll indulge you.
Another boss fight. Annoying one though. remember how to get him to stagger. Aha, that's how. I need to start dodging those blows. Yeah. Come on. That's difficult to dodge. Okay. Hush. Come on.
Raziel, finish it before he returns. You should have listened to me. Now it is finished, and thus a new epic has its beginning.
Do you see? However far you stray, you will always return to me. Surrender, Raziel.
Never!
Your efforts are wasted, Raziel. That weapon you bear, however endowed, remains only a wraith blade. It cannot touch me.
I will not be your prisoner.
You have no choice. Your task is fulfilled. Kane has been cleared from the board, and this chamber made ready for my more malleable servants. There is nothing more for you to do.
I refuse to bend my will.
It has always been my will you satisfy, never your own.
You parasitic fraud. You are forced to imprison me because I possess free will.
You possess nothing. As you are undying, your soul cannot be returned to the wheel. but it may console you to abide here in eternity with me. Mobius, my good servant, I call you to the place of our first meeting. Return to me here.
I awoke to find myself in a shadowy realm. A disquieting stillness lay where my heart had been, the heart that had belonged to Janus Audron all along. How was it possible that I still lived?
You are still very forth, vampire. That will go first. This realm will render you hideous. You will go mad, and will not know it.
What is this place?
Do you not think of this place every day, vampire? Or are we truly forgotten? This is the exile into which we were driven. But soon now, soon we will be free. We will be free.
So, that fight with Janos, and essentially Janos' fate, is the reason why I'm playing Blood Omen last, Blood Omen 2. Because that game continues the storyline after these events, essentially. Oh. I hate demons, I hate demons. It's not enough that they have... Oh. Actually managed to kill one. Maybe these guys actually give me blood? Blood? Nope, no blood. It's easier to play with Kane because he has a superior dodge, which doesn't work when you get hit by a fireball in the face. Yeah. I can fill the Reaver, but I can't drain them for blood. And this is the realm where the Hilden were sent to. So like the spirit realm, it occupies the same space, but it's in a different dimension. That's where the demons come from. That's where Azimuth has been.
Strongly drawn, compelled even, not to linger here, but to go to the vampire citadel at once.
And the Hilden, which has possessed the Mortanius, is the same one that possessed Janos. That's the Hilden hero. And he is gonna be the main antagonist in Blood Omen 2. Yeah, Vikit, that's how it seems, essentially, because everybody that Raziel is seeking answers from is so important. they just get murdered the moment he's about to have an answer. But all of the answers for the most part have been given at this point. Much of the story has been revealed. The only part that, well, what Kane has to discover yet still is the Elder God. The rest has been pretty much now all revealed. All of the loose ends are now pretty much tied up. We know pretty much everything at this point. Of course, there will be battles on the way out. Can I avoid them? Oh, Arcane Tome. See if I can avoid a fight. Not this one. Problem with the demon is that they can break out of a combo and they can ignore a strike like that. I don't like that. Slowing down time, which allows me to do merciless things to these guys. Now, will you let me just go? No, you won't. That was wonderful. And we go. Be gone. I am gone.
I knew what ominous hour this was in Nozgot's history. For here was the event that had shaped my entire existence. I had cast my fate, refusing the sacrifice, damning the Pillars, and founding my doomed empire upon their ruins. I would raise the Sarafan priests to be my closest lieutenants, and would one day cast the strongest of them, my servant Raziel, into the abyss, dealing one last hand to play against fate. But in the end, had it made any difference? Had I misread the signs, as Mobius told me? In my arrogance, had I missed my cast at destiny?
And yeah, we are now going for the final confrontation. Of course, there will be fights on the way. Probably demons again. The moment the pillars are brought down, the binding falls, essentially, and that allows the Hilden to come to this world. They can't really physically cross over, at least not yet. Instead, what happens is... oh, this is locked. Curious. Okay. They can't physically cross over, they just possess things and they use that to cross over. Okay, so I'm missing something. Because that's the only way to go. I hear a spirit somewhere. I'm guessing I need to kill that. Oh no, there is another path. Never mind. They have a lot of health. Arcane Tome.
The Hilden are merely an inconvenient consequence. They will be dealt with in time. It is a small price to pay for Kane's death.
You're a bit premature.
Kane!
Is there a crack in your omniscience after all, Mobius? First, your omniscience, and now your powers. You're slipping badly.
This is not possible.
The part of me that staff affected is no longer in its place. But you already knew that, didn't you? I always was considered heartless. And now, Mobius, it is time.
To kill me? Again? Your only solution for every problem. Kill.
This is not a debate. You see, this time, you have nothing that I want.
You think this will matter? I serve one who has power over life and death.
Then go to him.
I am his obedient, his devoted servant. Soon, all pain will fade, and my master will bring me life once more. Master, my apologies. A momentary oversight. Somehow Kane still lives, and has unexpectedly dispatched me. Make use of your good servant, and...
Go to your master, then. I release you to the wheel.
Oh, God, no.
Do you see it now? The monster that you served. Is this what you imagined when you worshipped it?
No!
And in that knowledge, go and feed it. I release you.
petty actions are irrelevant, Raziel. Mobius was a good servant, but he was of no further use. His long life had run its course. You see, even when you rebel, you are doing my will.
Perhaps. But something has changed, hasn't it? You didn't foresee Kane's return.
You have both traced your paths along the wheel. This is where the journey ends.
You haven't the means to kill either one of us.
Ah, but you can be stopped. And you will come to understand how oblivion can be a mercy. You and Kane will spend eternity buried here together, praying for the merciful release of a death that will never come.
But I was armed with newfound knowledge, and it burned within me.
Redeemer and Destroyer.
Mobius had never seen his master until the Soul Reaver purified his sight. Even the ancient vampires had no idea what it was they so righteously worshipped.
You must unite what has been set asunder.
All the conflict and strife throughout history, all the fear and hatred, served but one purpose: to keep my master's wheel turning. All souls were prisoners, trapped in the pointless round of existence, leading distracted, blunted lives until death returned them, always in ignorance, to the wheel.
The coin is still turning.
But what hope had there been? One cannot fight the unseen.
Only then will the Scion of Balance be armed for his true endeavor.
Despair, Raziel. There is no escape.
It was then I knew what I had to do. I alone could end this.
Kane. Do you so enjoy death? Yes. Raziel. No!
Yes, this is how...
No! Raziel!
The Soul Reaver, pure of all corruption. This is what it is for. This is what I am for. The two become one. Both Soul Reavers together. And the Scion of Balance is healed. And I am not your enemy, not your destroyer. I am, as before, your right hand, your sword.
No, Raziel. This can't be the way.
And now you will see the true enemy.
Raziel. And it was then I saw.
So, I am revealed to you at last.
What in hell?
I am the origin of life, the devourer of death. I am the hub of the wheel, the purifying cycle to which all souls must be drawn.
Had I condemned Raziel to this nightmare when I cast him into the abyss?
You may ponder the futility of your ambitions as you spend a deathless eternity beneath a mountain of rubble. You and your Soul Reaver will go equally mad as the eons pass. The Citadel of the Apostates will become your living tomb.
Your words are heartening. For you would not fear us unless we could truly do you harm.
No! You are nothing!
False god. This is the end. The final turn of your wheel.
Final boss time!
I've enjoyed your game long enough.
Don't remember if I just need to cut the tentacles or... Yeah, I do.
That almost hurt.
That cutscene was one of the... It always gives me chills when Raziel says, "I am as before, your right hand, your sword."
Your sacrifice has been made in vain, Raziel. No! This cannot be!
It would be wonderful if I could actually dodge. He doesn't lock into him.
Never defeat me, Kane. Pathetic creature. Your sacrifice has been made in vain, Raziel.
There is one more cycle left. Not sure if I'm gonna have the health for it. It's almost impossible to dodge that.
Your sacrifice has been made in vain, Raziel.
Come on.
I will bury you.
I think that's it.
You cannot destroy me. I am the engine of life itself. The wheel will turn. The plague of your kind will be purged from this world. And on that inevitable day, your wretched, stagnant soul will finally be mine.
In the meantime, you'd best burrow deep. Now at last, the masks had fallen away. The strings of the puppets had become visible, and the hands of the Prime Mover exposed. Most ironic of all was the last gift that Raziel had given me. More powerful than the sword that now held his soul, more acute even than the vision his sacrifice had accorded me. The first bitter taste of that terrible illusion. Hope.
And that's it. as far as the main storyline of Legacy of Kain is concerned, this is the end. Blood Omen 2 simply happens in an alternate timeline, which was the result of what was done in Soul Reaver 2 and Defiance. So the revival of Janos Audron and refusal of Kane to kill Raziel for him to become the first soul to be trapped in the Reaver. Those are the two main changes, which are then... Oh, thank you, Vic. So these are the main changes which then have alternated the history, which are then further elaborated on. So what has effectively happened is Blood Omen 2 happens after Kane has refused the sacrifice, but now in this new timeline. And he, instead of creating his empire in a single bound as he did originally, he runs into the Hilden Lord, which we've seen liberated here, the Hilden Hero, the Hilden Lord. He is the main antagonist of Blood Omen 2. And that is precisely the reason why I wanted to play up until Defiance first, even though Blood Omen 2 was released before Defiance, because I wanted that to be clear. Blood Omen 2 essentially can be a completely separate story, because even though it has a place in the lore, it is not affected by anything that happened. Well, it is directly affected by everything that happened in Soul Reaver 2 and Defiance, but it can be played right after Blood Omen 1, and it would be just as natural, because at that point Kane didn't know what awaits him, and he didn't know about the Hilden. So this the most important thing is that the circle of history has been broken because of Raziel being able to essentially choose his path. His path was the only one that history has not written, because he had free will, because the casting of the Abyss, destroying and remaking him, removed him from the regular circle of life, which is what Kane was hoping is going to happen. Originally, Kane thought that by evolving himself, he could make himself into that, but then Raziel got wings before him, and that was essentially the sign telling Kane that it's not his place, but that of Raziel, and he cast him into the Abyss to remake him. Essentially, because he was undying and he was destroyed, his being was, and he could not be absorbed into the wheel of life, so he was remade into this new existence. And then Elder God found him, and that triggered the events of Soul Reaver 1. The Elder God is not fully explored yet, and that's because this game didn't go to its next sequel. The next sequel was cancelled. So what was supposed to happen after this is what we didn't see, because the next game was never made, is the war between the vampires and the Hilden, Hilden banishment, was supposed to be resolved. The Elder Gods' exact nature and being was supposed to be resolved, because even though Elder God claims to be the hub of the wheel, it is assumed that the Wheel of Life is essentially the mechanic of the existence of the universe itself, and that the Elder God is just like Raziel always said, he was a parasite, and he is a parasite on the wheel. So he isn't part of it, he's just attached to it, just like a parasite. And he does have some power over life and death, but it's mostly there. He feeds and recycles soul, essentially. And because of that, none of the souls that he eats fulfill their true destinies. It's what Raziel came to the conclusion at the end, is that every reborn soul leads a blunted life, which just brings it back to the wheel and feeds him. So it is a bit complicated, but makes sense when you string it all together. So these are the bonuses this is what collectibles were opening. Now I didn't pick up all of them, so we're just gonna look with the ones I did pick up. Oh, or I did pick up all of them? I did? I did. Okay, I didn't pick up all of the... health upgrades, but I did pick up all of the arcane tomes at least, which is good. So these are Kane's arcane tomes. This is the cover of the first Blood Omen, the finished product. I actually have this one on a disc as well, and it looks really cool, although mine is worn out because of heavy use. Model sheet for the first iteration of Kane. Since the first game used sprite work, these were just translated into in-game sprites. The map of Nozgot, as it appeared in the first game. These are the early concept sketches of Kane. So this is how he could have looked like. Well, this pretty much is how he looks like, but this looks like proper Dracula character. That's monstrous. I like the little mustache. Yeah, this is the render that was used in the cutscenes for Blood Omen 1. Oh, I actually forgot about this. So yeah, the Legacy of Kain was actually called the Pillars of Nozgot originally, before it was changed. When they crumbled away. Well, we say crumbled, they pretty much were blown up when the binding fell apart. This never made it into the final product. I think this actually exists online somewhere, but I was never able to find it. This is the whole first part of the game when we actually go out as human Kane and get killed was supposed to be a cutscene, but they changed. And I'm actually happy that they changed the. It made it more poignant when actually you did it yourself, got killed while playing the game. What could have been concept art for Kane as he appears in Soul Reaver 1. This is pretty much how he ended up looking in the end, except with hair. But I see that they did plan for hair. This is the Japanese cover of the game. Kane the Vampire. Storyboard. Yeah, this is for the end sequence of first game. Let's see, Raziel's. He was only from Soul Reaver 1. This is how he could have looked like, but they decided to go for a more ghoulish appearance after a while. I like this hero-like pose. Yeah, this is pretty much how he ended up looking in the end, just without the runes and tattoos. And with black hair instead of white hair. He's shown so briefly in the first cutscene of Soul Reaver 1 that you forget how he looked like as a vampire. Well, Vic, after that point, is there even anything to do in the campaign in that game? Oh, actually, I've seen this one in a Croatian magazine cover when the Soul Reaver 1 released. This one was part of the pictures that were given as press release. That's cool. And you could unlock this as an avatar on MSN Gaming Zone, if I'm not mistaken. That's a thing that's echo from the past. I don't think any of you remember that. Yeah, Mobius as he appeared in Blood Omen. His design didn't change much, and that's actually one of the things I like about this series of games. There is continuity, and actually proper continuity, so while there are refinements of the design, it is still the same design. Ah yes. Ariel. Yeah, I'm happy that they didn't go for Adonathiel. That's her name. Scion of Balance. One of the things that I haven't mentioned, the reason why only half her face is missing is because she was stabbed in the face. Yeah, in the end it didn't turn out to look like a castle, looked more mundane. They almost called him Infernum. He had bat-like skins between these on, but that was changed. Not sure if that's beard or not, but order against Malak. Oops. Mortanius has appeared in Blood Omen 1. Churel, that's the fifth brother that we were actually fighting in Defiance. I don't know why they made renders of it, because he was never shown as a vampire. Well, he was in a cutscene in Soul Reaver 1, but very briefly. Raziel and Kane together. Mortanius as he appears in Defiance. Churel to scale with Raziel. I think they did a pretty good job on that. Although, even though Raziel mentioned that Churel is more grotesque than his brothers, I think Melchiah was still the most grotesque. Serpentine. Okay, so that's enemy concepts. I'm guessing this was supposed to be one of the Hilden mutants, mutant corpses. Same. I think this one actually appeared in the game. That's the basic one, I think. Well, the dwarf didn't appear. Giant one. These guys only appear. Well, they were in the Avernus Cathedrals as enemies, but the masked one only appears in the Ashua. The Vampire Guardians. And these are all 9 Vampire Guardians that you have to fight in the game. Bosses. I'm not sure if they're called Wraiths or Archons. Kane. Well, these are game models, so these are cool to see. It's kind of a weird angle, but considering his size, I guess that's the only way they could fit him in the screen. Thea, thank you for being here. Have a good night. Forward-oriented cutscene. Ariel. Ghastly state. Enemy art. Mercenaries. Oh, they just retextured this one for the spellcaster. Well, it makes sense. No need to reinvent her. Giant one. The possessed one. So this is what happens when we did fight a few of them, but they didn't show up a lot in the game. Possessed corpse. No, this is actually a Hilden possessed corpse. So this is a corpse of a Hilden. Just a possessed corpse. Possessed and mutated corpse. Same. One of the vampire guardians. Demon. Didn't actually get to see his face in the game because of the camera work. The animated statues, the second type of a demon, which is the lightning one. These weird tribal people that I have no idea what they're supposed to be. Vampire worshippers or whatever. Archons, I believe. These are the wraiths. Shua. Also Shua. Seraphan warriors. That's it. Garments. So this is the concept art of Seraphan Stronghold. So for those who don't know how game design works, is essentially you create these concept arts to illustrate some key locations and to give a general idea of what the 3D modelers, the level editors, need to aim for when building that area. And then somebody makes a map and then they negotiate the details. Cool. Always like to see artwork of and making of the games. What are these? These are supposed to be the rotting corpses that you can inhabit, I suppose. Denizens of the underworld. Cemetery, the first part of the game is spent there. Light and darkness scripts are discovered there. Pillars, they're not here. Mansion. I actually like that they did go for the design of the Mordor's mansion as it appears in the Blood Omen 1. Of course they went into more detail with it, but it still looks like it did in Blood Omen 1. Again, it's nice to be consistent. This is supposed to be the war between the vampires and the Hilden, I'm certain. A lot of work went into the game. If only they didn't make such a crappy camera, I would be happy. I think that's my only complaint about this game, is that the camera is awful. Avernus. Pit of Hashagik. That's how the Avernus Cathedral looks like from the far away. Again, I mean, it does have an obvious connotation with Notre Dame, but this is how it's depicted in Blood Omen 1, so again, consistency is nice. These are the people responsible for the game, and these are the guys responsible for testing. Voice talent. So to put faces to the voices, Michael Bell, he voices Raziel. Simon Templeman, he voices Kane, and it kind of looks like Kane, ironically enough. Tony J, the Elder God, and you've heard his voice many times outside. Richard Doyle, the Mobius. This is a surprise to me. You probably know this actor. And now that I think about it and think of Janos' voice, yeah, that's him, and I just didn't put two and two together. I know him best from Deep Space Nine, Star Trek, but he is a very proficient actor. You've probably seen him a lot of places. Anna Gunn, she voiced Ariel. Paul Lukather, he voiced Vorador. Alastair Duncan is the voice of Mortanius, both here in Blood Omen of 1, if I'm not mistaken. Greg Berger, he did it well. E.G. War for all additional voices, so for pretty much for Mercenaries and all of those. And he probably did the voices in the Underworld. Let's put faces to the people who actually made this game. Their Chronicle just shows all the cutscenes, and that's it. We are done with Legacy of Kain main storyline. Next time we will go to Blood Omen 2, and with that the whole franchise of Legacy of Kain will be finished. For the time being, there are some talks about another game being made, but I'm gonna be happy if I'm proven wrong, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Unfortunately, this series has not gained much favor as time went on. Everybody who played it loved it, of course, and I'm a massive fan of the series. But you could see throughout our playthroughs, you could see the problem that the game has. Repetitive locations, especially when it comes to unlocking powers, especially in Defiance, although it was kind of a thing even already in Soul Reaver 2. And the story kind of ends here in Defiance. There isn't, I mean, there are a few things that need to be resolved, but the game, Defiance pretty much ends by closing the loop on the Legacy of Kain series, and it is difficult to write a final game from it. And in what style would you make it in? It's difficult, so I'm not seeing it happening, but I will be happy to be proven wrong. I'm hoping that there will be another Legacy of Kain game, but remains to be seen.